Welcome to the Heartbeat Chronicles, the podcast that delves into the intricate dynamic of love, sex, relationships, lifestyle, journaling, counseling, and therapy, and the messy in between. Get ready to explore the various aspects of life's heartbeat and discover insightful conversations that resonate with you. In today's episode, we'll dive into part 2 of Unpopular Opinions About Family and explore the often taboo topic of cutting ties with family members. Discuss when, why, and how it's okay to step away from toxic family relationships, and provide insights and strategies for listeners who might be grappling with these difficult decisions. This episode aims to normalize the idea that sometimes walking away from family is the healthiest choice. Welcome to Heartbeat Chronicles, where every beat tells a story. I'm your host, Riley Mitchell, and I'm thrilled to have you join me today. To all our lovely soulful ambassadors tuning in, whether you're a longtime listener or this is your first time, welcome to our little family of heart-to-heart conversations. Now, the week previous to last week, we dove headfirst into the deep end of family dynamics, and boy, did we make a splash. We talked about family toxicity and some pretty spicy opinions that might make your grandma clutch her pearls. But here's the thing. We barely scratched the surface of this juicy topic. I've got to say, our chat about family relationships really got the old noggin jogging. It's like we opened Pandora's box of things we've been avoiding talking about with Aunt Karen. You know, the aunt who always comments on your weight at Thanksgiving dinner? Yeah, that one. So buckle up, Buttercup. We're about to continue our journey into the wild and sometimes wacky world of family ties. Today, we're tackling the elephant in the room, why it's okay to cut ties with family members. I know, it sounds about as fun as a root canal, but trust me, it's a conversation we need to have. Let's be real for a second. Family is supposed to be our safe haven, our personal cheerleading squad. But sometimes it feels more like we're stuck in a bad reality TV show. You know, the kind where everyone's fighting over who ate the last slice of pizza. But instead of pizza, it's your mental health on the line. Now, I'm not saying you should ghost your entire family because your brother forgot your birthday. We're talking about those relationships that leave you feeling like you've been put through the emotional ringer. The ones that have you reaching for the ice cream tub at 2 a.m., wondering why you let Uncle Bob's comments get to you. Again, cutting ties with family isn't about being dramatic or holding grudges. It's about setting boundaries and prioritizing your well-being. It's recognizing that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to love some people from a distance. A very, very long distance, like I can barely see you with a telescope kind of distance. Remember, you wouldn't keep a pair of shoes that gave you blisters every time you wore them. So why would you keep a relationship that leaves your heart and soul feeling like they've run a marathon in those blister-inducing shoes? Now, I know what you're thinking. But Riley, they're family. We're supposed to love them unconditionally. Well, my dear soulful ambassadors, let me let you in on a little secret. Unconditional love doesn't mean unconditional tolerance for toxic behavior. You can love someone and still say, hey, I love you, but your behavior is not okay and I need some space. Cutting ties doesn't have to be permanent either. Sometimes it's just about taking a step back, reassessing the situation, and giving yourself time to heal. It's like putting your relationship in the freezer. You can always thaw it out later if things change. So as we wrap up this heartfelt chat, remember this. You are the author of your own life story. You get to decide who plays a starring role and who's relegated to a cameo appearance. It's okay to edit, revise, and sometimes completely rewrite your cast of characters. Remember, every beat of your heart is precious. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who make it sing, not sink. We're diving into a challenging but important topic, cutting ties with family members. It's a decision that nobody takes lightly, but sometimes it becomes necessary for our own well-being. We'll explore when such a drastic step might be needed and take a look at the profound impact toxic family relationships can have on our lives. Let's dive into the first major red flag that might indicate it's time to consider cutting ties with a family member: ongoing emotional abuse. This is a serious issue that can have long-lasting effects on your mental health and well-being. Emotional abuse often manifests in 3 main forms: constant criticism, gaslighting, and emotional blackmail. Constant criticism is when a family member repeatedly puts you down, belittles your achievements, or makes you feel inadequate. For example, imagine working hard for a promotion at work, only to have a parent dismiss it by saying anyone could have done that. This kind of behavior chips away at your self-esteem over time. Gaslighting is another insidious form of emotional abuse. It occurs when a family member denies your experiences or feelings, making you question your own reality. They might say things like, "You're too sensitive," or "That never happened," when you try to express how their actions have hurt you. This can leave you feeling confused and doubting your own perceptions. Lastly, emotional blackmail is a manipulative tactic where a family member tries to control you through guilt or threats. They might say something like, "If you don't do what I say, don't expect me to be there for you anymore." This kind of manipulation can trap you in a cycle of trying to please them at the expense of your own needs and desires. Recognizing these patterns of emotional abuse is crucial. If you find yourself constantly walking on eggshells around a family member, feeling drained after interactions with them, or questioning your own worth because of their words and actions, it may be time to seriously consider setting firmer boundaries, or, in extreme cases, cutting ties for your own emotional well-being. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and this is especially true when it comes to family. Unfortunately, repeated betrayals can severely damage or even destroy that trust, leaving deep emotional scars. One common form of betrayal in families is the sharing of personal information. Imagine confiding in a sibling about a deeply personal struggle, only to find out they've shared it with others without your permission. This breach of confidence can leave you feeling exposed and vulnerable, making it difficult to open up in the future. Another devastating form of betrayal is the consistent breaking of promises. When a family member repeatedly commits to being there for you but fails to follow through, it can create a sense of abandonment and unreliability. Over time, you may find yourself hesitating to depend on them, even for small things. These betrayals don't just affect the specific incidents, they ripple through the entire relationship. Each time trust is broken, it becomes harder to rebuild. You might find yourself constantly on guard, questioning the motives behind every interaction and struggling to believe even the most sincere gestures. In some cases, the betrayal can be even more severe, such as a family member undermining your romantic relationships or sabotaging your personal or professional endeavors. These actions not only break trust, but can also have long-lasting consequences in various aspects of your life. Let's talk about a crucial aspect of family dynamics: respecting boundaries. When family members consistently cross the lines you've drawn, it's more than just an annoyance. It's a clear sign of disrespect for your personal space and autonomy. Imagine you've explicitly asked your parents not to drop by unannounced, yet they continue to show up at your doorstep without warning. Or perhaps you've set clear rules about how you want to raise your children, but your in-laws constantly undermine your parenting decisions. These are classic examples of boundary violations. Another common scenario is when family members feel entitled to weigh in on your personal decisions. Maybe you're considering a career change, and suddenly everyone has an opinion on what you should do. Despite your polite requests for them to step back, they persist in trying to influence your choices. These boundary violations can leave you feeling suffocated, stressed, and resentful. Over time, they can erode your sense of independence and self-worth. It's important to recognize that healthy relationships, even within families, require mutual respect for each other's boundaries. If you find yourself constantly defending your personal space or decisions against family intrusions, it might be time to reassess these relationships. Remember, setting and maintaining boundaries is not selfish. It's an essential part of self-care and personal growth. Let's delve into the concept of toxic enmeshment and codependency in family relationships. This is a situation where the lines between individual family members become blurred and personal boundaries are virtually non-existent. In toxic enmeshment, family members become overly involved in each other's lives, often to an unhealthy degree. It's as if there's an invisible umbilical cord that was never cut, tethering you to your family members emotionally, and sometimes even physically. One of the hallmarks of this dynamic is the expectation that you'll constantly cater to the emotional needs of your family members, often at the expense of your own well-being. You might find yourself feeling responsible for your parents' happiness, or guilty when you can't solve a sibling's problems. This can lead to a codependent relationship, where your sense of self-worth becomes tied to how well you can meet the needs of your family. You might feel anxious or empty when you're not actively helping or involved in their lives. The danger here is that your own identity, needs, and personal growth can get lost in the mix. You might struggle to make decisions independently or pursue your own goals because you're so wrapped up in the family dynamic. Recognizing these patterns is the first step towards establishing healthier boundaries and reclaiming your individual identity. Physical or sexual abuse within a family is an extremely serious issue that should never be tolerated. It's crucial to understand that your safety and well-being must always come first, even when dealing with family members. Physical abuse can take many forms, from hitting and slapping to more severe acts of violence. It's important to recognize that even a single instance of physical violence is unacceptable and can potentially escalate into a pattern of abuse. You should never have to feel unsafe around your family. Sexual abuse or misconduct within a family is equally serious and damaging. This can include inappropriate touching, sexual comments, or any form of non-consensual sexual activity. Such behavior is not only deeply traumatic, but also a violation of personal boundaries and trust. In cases of physical or sexual abuse, cutting ties is often not just recommended, but essential for your safety and emotional well-being. It's important to remember that family ties do not give anyone the right to harm you physically or sexually. If you're experiencing abuse, it's crucial to seek help immediately. This might involve contacting law enforcement, reaching out to a therapist or counselor, or confiding in a trusted friend. Remember, your physical and emotional safety is paramount, and there are resources available to help you navigate this difficult situation. One of the most challenging aspects of dealing with toxic family relationships is when a family member refuses to acknowledge the harm they've caused. This unwillingness to take responsibility for their actions can create a significant barrier to healing and reconciliation. Imagine you've been hurt by something a family member has said or done. You gather the courage to confront them, hoping for an apology or at least some recognition of your pain. Instead, they dismiss your feelings entirely, or worse, blame you for being too sensitive. This kind of response can leave you feeling invalidated and frustrated. In some cases, family members might go even further, completely denying that the hurtful incident ever happened. This behavior, known as gaslighting, can make you question your own memories and perceptions, which is incredibly damaging to your mental health and self-esteem. When a family member consistently refuses to acknowledge their harmful behavior, it creates a cycle of hurt that's nearly impossible to break. Without recognition of the problem, there's no foundation for change or improvement in the relationship. This stubbornness can leave you feeling stuck, continually reliving the same painful interactions without any hope for resolution. In these situations, reconciliation becomes extremely difficult, if not impossible. You might find yourself at a crossroads, forced to choose between accepting a relationship that continually causes you pain or considering the difficult decision to distance yourself for your own well-being. Let's talk about another significant red flag in family relationships: when they stifle your personal growth. Sometimes the very people who should be your biggest cheerleaders can become the ones holding you back. Imagine feeling like you can't truly be yourself around your family. Maybe you've changed your appearance, hidden your interests, or even kept your career aspirations a secret, just to avoid judgment or criticism. This constant need to hide parts of yourself can be exhausting and detrimental to your self-esteem. Perhaps you've experienced a family member actively discouraging your dreams. You share your plans to start a business, and instead of support, you're met with skepticism and discouragement. Why would you risk everything on such a silly idea? They might say, planting seeds of doubt in your mind. Or consider a situation where your family's expectations clash with your personal goals. You want to pursue a creative career, but your parents insist that you follow a more traditional path. Every family gathering becomes a battleground of subtle jabs and disappointed looks. In these cases, the very relationships that should nurture your growth are instead stunting it. When you find yourself constantly compromising your authenticity or putting your dreams on hold to keep the peace, it might be time to create some distance. Remember, your personal growth and self-expression are vital to your happiness and fulfillment. Sometimes stepping away from those who limit you is the only way to truly flourish. Let's talk about a particularly troubling red flag in family relationships: financial exploitation. This is when a family member uses or manipulates you for their own financial gain, and it can be incredibly damaging to both your wallet and your emotional well-being. One common form of financial exploitation is repeated borrowing. You might have a sibling or a parent who's always asking for money, promising to pay you back, but never quite getting around to it. They might have a sob story each time, or they might just act like it's expected. Either way, it creates a cycle where you're constantly giving and they're constantly taking. Then there's the guilt tripping for financial support. This is when family members make you feel obligated to give them money or support their lifestyle simply because you're related. They might say things like, "But we're family. How can you let me struggle like this?" Or, "I raised you, now it's your turn to take care of me." This kind of emotional manipulation can be particularly difficult to resist. It's important to recognize that healthy family relationships don't involve one person constantly draining the other's resources. If you find yourself always being the one to bail out a family member, or if you're putting your own financial stability at risk to support someone else, it might be time to take a step back and reassess the situation. Remember, it's okay to set boundaries around money, even with family. Your financial well-being matters too, and you shouldn't have to compromise it due to someone else's poor choices or manipulative behavior. Let's talk about another particularly draining aspect of toxic family dynamics: constant drama and chaos. Some family members seem to thrive on creating unnecessary conflict, turning even the most mundane situations into battlegrounds. Imagine a relative who always finds a way to stir up tension at family gatherings. They might bring up old grudges, pit family members against each other, or make inflammatory comments just to get a reaction. This behavior can turn what should be joyous occasions into anxiety-inducing events. Another common scenario is the family member who constantly plays the victim. They're always in crisis, always in need of rescue, and always expecting you to drop everything to solve their problems. This creates a cycle of exhaustion and resentment as you're continually pulled into their chaotic world. The impact of this constant drama can be severe. It disrupts your peace of mind, drains your emotional energy, and can even affect your relationships outside the family. You might find yourself always on edge, waiting for the next crisis or conflict to erupt. Over time, this persistent state of chaos can lead to burnout, anxiety, and a deep-seated desire to distance yourself from family interactions. It's important to recognize when a family member's drama-seeking behavior is negatively impacting your well-being, and to consider setting firm boundaries, or, in extreme cases, limiting contact to protect your mental health. Let's delve into the emotional and mental toll of maintaining toxic family relationships. It's a heavy burden that many people carry, often silently and for years. Imagine waking up every day with a knot in your stomach, dreading interactions with certain family members. This constant state of stress and anxiety can wear you down over time, affecting not just your mental health, but your physical well-being too. Many people in toxic family situations report feeling constantly on edge, as if they're walking on eggshells. They're always bracing for the next criticism, the next argument, or the next betrayal. This hypervigilance is exhausting, leaving little energy for other aspects of life. The impact on self-esteem can be devastating. When you're constantly criticized or made to feel inadequate by those who are supposed to love and support you unconditionally, it can chip away at your sense of self-worth. You might start to internalize these negative messages, believing that you're not good enough or that you don't deserve better treatment. Guilt is another common emotion. Society places such a high value on family relationships that many people feel ashamed or guilty for even considering cutting ties, no matter how toxic the situation. This internal conflict can lead to a cycle of self-doubt and second-guessing. Depression and anxiety often go hand in hand with toxic family dynamics. The constant emotional turmoil can lead to feelings of hopelessness and despair. Some people might turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms like substance abuse or self-harm to numb the pain. It's also worth noting the ripple effect on other relationships. When you're carrying the weight of toxic family interactions, it can impact how you relate to friends, romantic partners, and even colleagues. You might struggle with trust issues or find yourself repeating unhealthy patterns learned in your family dynamic. The toll extends beyond emotional health. Chronic stress from difficult family relationships can manifest in physical symptoms like headaches, digestive issues, and even a weakened immune system. It's a stark reminder that emotional well-being and physical health are deeply interconnected. Recognizing this toll is a crucial step. It's about acknowledging that your well-being matters, and that sometimes creating distance from toxic family members isn't just an option. It might be necessary for your health and happiness. Now let's turn to expert advice on this challenging topic. Psychologists and family therapists have valuable insights to share about when cutting ties might be appropriate and the potential benefits of doing so. Dr. Sarah Thompson, a clinical psychologist specializing in family dynamics, suggests that cutting ties should be considered when the relationship consistently undermines your mental health and well-being. She emphasizes that it's not a decision to be made lightly, but rather after careful consideration and attempts at resolution. Family therapist Mark Johnson adds that it's crucial to assess whether the relationship is causing more harm than good. He advises looking for patterns of behavior rather than isolated incidents. If you find yourself consistently feeling anxious, depressed, or emotionally drained after interactions with a family member, it might be time to consider distancing yourself. Both experts agree that setting clear boundaries is an essential first step. Dr. Thompson notes that sometimes the act of setting firm boundaries can be enough to improve a relationship. However, if these boundaries are repeatedly violated, it may indicate that cutting ties is necessary. The potential benefits of cutting ties, according to Dr. Johnson, can include reduced stress, improved self-esteem, and the opportunity for personal growth. He explains that removing yourself from a toxic environment allows you to focus on your own well-being and cultivate healthier relationships. However, it's important to note that cutting ties doesn't always mean a permanent severance. Dr. Thompson suggests that in some cases, a period of limited or no contact can provide the space needed for healing and reassessment. Ultimately, these experts emphasize that the decision to cut ties is deeply personal and should be made with careful consideration of your individual circumstances and emotional needs. They recommend seeking professional support to navigate this challenging process and to help manage the complex emotions that often accompany such a significant life change. As we wrap up our discussion on cutting ties with family members, it's clear that this decision is never taken lightly. We've explored various red flags, from emotional abuse to financial exploitation, that might necessitate such a drastic step. Remember, while family bonds are important, your mental health and personal growth should always come first. Sometimes stepping away is the bravest and healthiest choice you can make for yourself. When it comes to cutting ties with a family member, the mental and emotional preparation is just as crucial as the practical steps. This process can be incredibly challenging, so it's essential to equip yourself with the right mindset and coping strategies. First and foremost, acknowledge that this decision is not one to be taken lightly. It's okay to feel a mix of emotions: sadness, guilt, relief, or even anger. These feelings are all valid and part of the process. Give yourself permission to experience them without judgment. Start by engaging in some serious self-reflection. Ask yourself why you're considering this step. Is it for your mental health, your physical safety, your overall well-being? Understanding your motivations will help you stay resolute when doubts creep in. It's also important to recognize that cutting ties doesn't necessarily mean you don't love your family member. You can love someone and still choose not to have them in your life if the relationship is harmful to you. Now, let's talk about some coping strategies. Journaling can be an excellent tool for processing your thoughts and emotions. Write about your reasons, your fears, and your hopes for the future. This can provide clarity and serve as a reminder of why you're making this decision when things get tough. Consider seeking professional help. A therapist or counselor can provide invaluable support and guidance as you navigate this challenging time. They can help you develop coping mechanisms tailored to your specific situation. Building a support network is crucial. Confide in trusted friends or join support groups where you can connect with others who have gone through similar experiences. Having people who understand and support your decision can make a world of difference. Prepare yourself for potential backlash or attempts at manipulation from family members. Visualize these scenarios and plan how you'll respond. This mental rehearsal can help you feel more confident and in control when faced with real-life confrontations. Lastly, practice self-compassion. This process is difficult, and it's okay if you struggle. Be kind to yourself, practice self-care, and remember that you're making this decision for your well-being. You have the right to prioritize your mental and emotional health. When cutting ties with family members, setting clear boundaries is absolutely crucial. It's not just about drawing a line in the sand. It's about creating a mental and emotional space that protects your well-being. So, what does setting clear boundaries look like? First, it means being explicit about what you will and won't accept in your life. For example, you might decide that you won't engage in conversations about certain topics, or that you'll limit contact to specific times or occasions. Here are some examples of healthy boundaries. I won't answer phone calls after 8 p.m. I'm not comfortable discussing my personal life. Let's change the subject. I need to leave if voices are raised or insults are used. Remember, boundaries are not threats or ultimatums. They're statements about what you need to feel safe and respected. A good example is when my uncle set boundaries for my family. My uncle, who is African American, has lived in the U.S. for over 20 years, so he's quite accustomed to the American way of life, where people are more direct about setting boundaries and how they want things done. He has this really interesting approach at his home. He's actually printed out a list of house rules. When you visit, they'll give you the list to read so everyone's clear on how things work. Now, coming from an African background where boundaries are often unspoken or just assumed, this approach was pretty different for us. But my uncle put these rules in place because, during a previous visit, people didn't respect his boundaries, and it affected him. One time after we stayed the night at his place, one of my cousins forgot to follow one of the rules about taking your dishes to the sink after eating. The dish was left there all day until the evening. My uncle noticed, and instead of letting it slide, he called us together for a quick meeting to revisit and explain the house rules again. He wanted to make sure we all understood why they existed and that they were important to him. This is a great example of why it's crucial to air out boundaries the moment they're crossed. In African tradition, we don't often have clear-cut boundaries like this, but my uncle's experience shows that setting and reinforcing them helps maintain respect and understanding in any environment. It's also a reminder that when someone crosses a boundary, addressing it immediately can make it stick. Maintaining these boundaries can be challenging, especially with family. Stay firm, even when it feels uncomfortable. If a boundary is crossed, calmly restate it and follow through with any consequences you've set. It's also important to recognize that boundaries may need to evolve over time. Be prepared to reassess and adjust as necessary. The goal is to create a healthier dynamic, even if that means limited or no contact. By setting and maintaining clear boundaries, you're not just protecting yourself. You're also modeling healthy relationship behaviors. It may be difficult, but it's a crucial step in the process of cutting ties and prioritizing your well-being. Staying firm in your decision to cut ties with a family member can be one of the most challenging aspects of the process. It's natural to experience a range of emotions, including guilt, doubt, and even moments of second-guessing yourself. Remember, you've made this decision for valid reasons, and it's crucial to stand by it. One of the biggest hurdles you might face is dealing with the guilt. You may find yourself questioning if you're doing the right thing or if you're being too harsh. In these moments, it's important to remind yourself of the reasons that led you to this decision in the first place. Try writing down these reasons and revisiting them when you feel your resolve weakening. Doubt can also creep in, especially when you're faced with pressure from other family members or friends who may not understand your decision. They might try to convince you to reconsider or attempt to minimize the issues that led to your choice. Stay strong and trust your judgment. You know your situation best, and you've made this decision for your own well-being. To cope with external pressure, it can be helpful to prepare a brief, clear explanation of your decision that you can use when needed. This can help you stay focused and avoid getting drawn into lengthy debates or justifications. Remember, you don't owe anyone a detailed explanation of your personal choices. Lastly, surround yourself with supportive people who respect your decision. Their understanding and encouragement can be invaluable in helping you stay firm when things get tough. Don't hesitate to seek professional help if you find yourself struggling. A therapist can provide additional strategies and support to help you navigate this challenging time. When it comes to communicating your decision to cut ties with a family member, it's crucial to be both respectful and clear. This can be a challenging conversation, but with the right approach, you can express your needs while maintaining compassion. One effective way to start the conversation is by using I statements. For example, you might say, "I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I've come to the difficult decision that I need to distance myself from our relationship." This approach focuses on your feelings and decisions rather than placing blame. It's also important to be direct about your intentions. You could say something like, "I want to be clear that I'm choosing to end our relationship for my own well-being." This leaves no room for misinterpretation while still maintaining a respectful tone. If you feel comfortable, you can briefly explain your reasons. For instance, "Our interactions have been causing me significant stress and affecting my mental health. I need to prioritize my well-being at this time." Remember to acknowledge the difficulty of the situation. You might say, "I understand this may be hard to hear, and I'm sorry for any pain this causes you. Please know that I've given this decision careful consideration." It's also helpful to set clear expectations for the future. You could say, "Moving forward, I won't be in contact. I hope you can respect my decision and my need for space." Throughout the conversation, try to remain calm and composed. If the other person becomes upset or argumentative, you can say, "I understand you're upset, but my decision is final. I hope you can respect that." Being direct yet compassionate in your communication allows you to firmly express your needs while showing that you're not acting out of malice. It's a delicate balance, but it's possible to be clear about your boundaries while still treating the other person with basic human dignity. When you make the decision to cut ties with a family member, it's important to be prepared for a range of potential reactions. Some family members might respond with anger, guilt-tripping, or even attempts to manipulate you into changing your mind. Others might react with shock, sadness, or disbelief. Remember, you can't control their reactions, but you can control how you respond. Stay calm and composed, even if they become emotional or confrontational. Take deep breaths and remind yourself of the reasons behind your decision. If they become aggressive or start yelling, it's okay to end the conversation. You can say something like, I understand this is upsetting, but I'm not willing to continue this discussion if you're going to raise your voice. Some family members might try to make you feel guilty. They might say things like, but we're family, or how could you do this to us? Stand firm in your decision. You can respond with, I know this is difficult, but I need to prioritize my well-being. If they attempt to negotiate or make promises to change, be cautious. While it's possible they're sincere, often these are temporary measures. You can say, I appreciate that you want to make changes, but I need time and space right now. Throughout these conversations, maintain your composure by focusing on your breathing, speaking slowly and clearly, and taking breaks if needed. Remember, staying calm doesn't mean you have to continue engaging if the conversation becomes unproductive or harmful. Cutting ties with family members is an emotionally taxing process, and it's crucial to prioritize self-care throughout this journey. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary for your mental and emotional well-being. First and foremost, acknowledge your feelings. It's normal to experience a range of emotions, from guilt and sadness to relief and freedom. Allow yourself to feel these emotions without judgment. Consider keeping a journal to express your thoughts and track your emotional progress. Establish a daily self-care routine. This could include activities like meditation, yoga, or deep breathing exercises to help manage stress and anxiety. Even just 10 minutes a day can make a significant difference in your overall well-being. Physical exercise is another powerful tool for self-care. Regular workouts, walks in nature, or any form of movement you enjoy can boost your mood and reduce stress levels. Remember, a healthy body supports a healthy mind. Don't underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. Maintain a consistent sleep schedule and create a relaxing bedtime routine to ensure you're getting adequate rest. This will help you face each day with renewed energy and clarity. Nurture your social connections. Surround yourself with supportive friends or join support groups where you can share your experiences. Having a strong support system can provide comfort and validation during challenging times. Engage in activities that bring you joy and relaxation. This could be reading a book, listening to music, painting, or any hobby that helps you unwind and forget your worries, even if just for a short while. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself and avoid self-criticism. Remind yourself that you're making this decision for your well-being, and it's okay to prioritize your happiness. Consider seeking professional help. A therapist or counselor can provide valuable guidance and coping strategies tailored to your specific situation. They can offer an objective perspective and help you navigate the complex emotions involved in cutting ties with family. Lastly, celebrate small victories and milestones in your journey. Acknowledge your strength and courage in making this difficult decision and taking steps towards a healthier life. Remember, self-care is an ongoing process, and it's essential to continue prioritizing your well-being long after you've cut ties. When you're going through the challenging process of cutting ties with family members, having a strong support system is absolutely crucial. It's not a journey you should have to face alone, and surrounding yourself with understanding and supportive people can make a world of difference. Start by identifying the friends in your life who have shown themselves to be trustworthy and empathetic. These are the people you can lean on during difficult times. Be open with them about what you're going through and don't hesitate to ask for help when you need it. Sometimes just having someone to listen without judgment can be incredibly comforting. Consider joining support groups, either in person or online, that focus on family estrangement or toxic relationships. These groups can provide a sense of community and understanding from people who have gone through similar experiences. You'll find that you're not alone in your struggles, and you might even gain valuable insights and coping strategies from others. Don't underestimate the value of professional help. A therapist or counselor who specializes in family dynamics can offer expert guidance and provide you with tools to navigate this challenging time. They can help you process your emotions, develop healthy coping mechanisms, and work through any guilt or doubt you might be feeling. Remember, building a support system is an ongoing process. It's okay to take your time and be selective about who you let into your inner circle. The goal is to surround yourself with people who uplift you, respect your decisions, and contribute positively to your emotional well-being. Let's dive into a topic that many find challenging but necessary: life after cutting ties with family members. It's a decision that can be incredibly difficult, often accompanied by a mix of emotions and uncertainties. While it brings its own set of challenges, such as dealing with guilt or facing judgment from others, it can also lead to profound personal growth and improved mental health. Today, we'll explore this journey and discuss how to navigate the aftermath of such a significant life change. Cutting ties with family members is undoubtedly a challenging experience, and the aftermath can be emotionally taxing. It's normal to feel a mix of emotions, including guilt and sadness. Remember, these feelings don't mean you made the wrong decision. They're part of the healing process. To cope with guilt, remind yourself of the reasons behind your decision. Write them down if it helps. Understand that prioritizing your well-being isn't selfish. It's necessary for your growth and happiness. Dealing with sadness may require allowing yourself to grieve. It's okay to mourn the relationship you wished you had. Consider journaling or expressing your feelings through art or music. You might face backlash from other family members. Stay firm in your decision, but avoid engaging in arguments. Prepare a simple, calm response to use when confronted. Something like, "I understand you may not agree, but this decision was necessary for my well-being." Self-care is crucial during this time. Engage in activities that bring you joy and peace. This could be exercise, meditation, or pursuing a hobby. Establish a routine that includes these self-care practices. Don't hesitate to seek professional help. A therapist can provide valuable tools for managing your emotions and navigating this new chapter in your life. Remember, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Let me share with you some inspiring stories of individuals who found peace and healing after making the difficult decision to distance themselves from toxic family relationships. Take Sarah, for example. After years of emotional manipulation from her parents, she decided to cut ties. Initially, it was challenging, but Sarah found solace in therapy and a supportive group of friends. Over time, she noticed significant improvements in her mental health. She pursued her passion for art, something her family had always discouraged, and now runs a successful online gallery. Then there's Michael, who grew up with an alcoholic father. After setting boundaries that weren't respected, he made the tough choice to limit contact. This decision allowed Michael to focus on his own recovery and well-being. He's now 5 years sober himself and works as a counselor, helping others navigate similar family dynamics. Lastly, consider Maria's story. She distanced herself from her controlling siblings, which initially left her feeling isolated. However, this space allowed her to discover her own identity and passions. She traveled the world, something she'd always dreamed of but was discouraged from doing. Maria now leads a fulfilling life, surrounded by friends who truly support and understand her. These stories highlight the positive changes and personal growth that can occur when individuals prioritize their well-being. While the journey isn't easy, it often leads to newfound peace, self-discovery, and the opportunity to build healthier relationships. After cutting ties with toxic family members, building a strong support system becomes crucial for your emotional well-being and personal growth. Let's explore some practical tips for creating and nurturing your chosen family. First, start by identifying positive influences in your life. Look for people who uplift you, respect your boundaries, and genuinely care about your well-being. These might be friends, colleagues, mentors, or even online communities that share your values and interests. Once you've identified these individuals, invest time and effort in nurturing these relationships. Be proactive in reaching out, scheduling regular catch-ups, and showing genuine interest in their lives. Remember, building meaningful connections takes time and consistency. Consider joining clubs, groups, or volunteer organizations that align with your passions. This can be an excellent way to meet like-minded individuals who share your interests and values. These shared experiences can form the foundation for deep, lasting friendships. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and open up about your experiences. Sharing your story can help you connect with others who may have gone through similar situations. This vulnerability can lead to more authentic and supportive relationships. Lastly, remember that quality is more important than quantity when it comes to your support network. Focus on cultivating a few strong, reliable relationships rather than trying to build an extensive network of superficial connections. These meaningful relationships will provide the emotional support and sense of belonging that you may have been lacking in your biological family. When we talk about life after cutting ties with toxic family members, one of the most crucial aspects is surrounding yourself with positive connections. These are the people who uplift you, respect your boundaries, and contribute to your overall well-being. Think about the relationships in your life that make you feel valued, understood, and supported. These connections are invaluable. They're the ones who celebrate your successes, offer a listening ear during tough times, and respect the boundaries you've set. Positive relationships have a profound impact on our personal growth and emotional health. When we're surrounded by supportive people, we're more likely to take risks, pursue our goals, and develop a stronger sense of self-worth. These connections provide a safe space for us to be vulnerable, express ourselves authentically, and work through our challenges. Moreover, healthy relationships serve as models for how we should be treated. They help us recognize and maintain high standards in our interactions with others. This is especially important for those who've experienced toxic family dynamics in the past. Remember, it's not about the quantity of relationships, but the quality. Even a small circle of genuinely supportive friends can make a world of difference. These positive connections act as a buffer against stress, boost our resilience, and contribute significantly to our overall happiness and life satisfaction. So prioritize these nurturing relationships, invest time and energy in them, express gratitude for the support you receive, and most importantly, be that positive connection for others as well. By cultivating these meaningful bonds, you're creating a strong foundation for your continued healing and growth. After cutting ties with toxic family members, it's crucial to establish and maintain healthy boundaries in your new relationships and with any remaining family members. This process begins with self-reflection and understanding your own needs and limits. Take time to identify what behaviors are acceptable to you and which ones cross the line. When it comes to new relationships, be clear about your expectations from the start. Communicate your boundaries openly and respectfully. Remember, it's okay to say no and to prioritize your own well-being. If someone doesn't respect your boundaries, it's a red flag that needs to be addressed. For remaining family members, it may be challenging to assert new boundaries, especially if they're used to old patterns of behavior. Be firm, yet kind in expressing your needs. You might say something like, "I care about you, but I need you to respect my decision to limit contact with certain family members." Self-advocacy is key in protecting your emotional well-being. Don't be afraid to speak up when you feel uncomfortable or when your boundaries are being pushed. It's not selfish to prioritize your mental health and peace of mind. Assertiveness goes hand in hand with self-advocacy. Practice expressing your feelings and needs clearly and directly. Remember, being assertive doesn't mean being aggressive. It's about standing up for yourself while still respecting others. Lastly, be prepared for some pushback. Not everyone will understand or accept your new boundaries right away. Stay strong and remind yourself that you're doing this for your own well-being. With time and consistency, most people will come to respect your boundaries, leading to healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Wow, what a journey we've been on today, folks. I can't believe we've reached the end of this eye-opening episode about cutting ties with toxic family members. Let me tell you, this topic hits close to home for so many of us. Throughout our chat, we've explored the nitty-gritty of family toxicity and the gut-wrenching decision to step away. And you know what? It's absolutely okay to prioritize your mental health and well-being, even if it means creating some distance from family. I mean, who needs that extra drama in their life, right? Remember, you're not alone in this. So many of us have been there, done that, and got the emotional t-shirt to prove it. It's tough, it's messy, but sometimes it's necessary for your own sanity. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What resonated with you in today's episode? Have you ever had to make a tough decision like this? Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Or if you're feeling a bit shy, slide into our DMs on Instagram. You can find us at heartbeat_chronicles or hit me up personally at _soulful_Riley. Let's keep this conversation going because your story might just be the lifeline someone else needs to hear. Now let's talk about some incredible books that can be your guiding light through this challenging journey. First up, we have Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents by Lindsay C. Gibson. This gem is like a roadmap for understanding why your family might be acting the way they do. It's like having a friend who's been there, done that, and is now sharing all their wisdom with you. Next on our bookshelf is Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. This book is basically the ultimate guide to learning how to say no without feeling guilty. It's like a crash course in standing up for yourself, especially when dealing with those tricky family situations. Now, here's a curveball for you. The Book of Forgiving by Desmond Tutu and Mfo Tutu. I know, forgiveness might be the last thing on your mind right now. But hear me out. This book isn't about letting toxic people off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from all that anger and resentment. Trust me, it's more liberating than you'd think. Last, but definitely not least, we have Toxic Parents by Susan Forward. This book is like having a therapist in your pocket. It's packed with strategies to help you break free from harmful family patterns and reclaim your life. It's like a personal cheerleader, encouraging you to prioritize your own well-being. These books are more than just words on a page. They're tools, companions, and sources of strength as you navigate this tough terrain. So, grab a cup of tea, find a cozy spot, and let these authors guide you towards a healthier, happier you. Now, let's talk about some additional resources that can be incredibly helpful when navigating these tricky family dynamics. First up, therapy. I can't stress enough how valuable it can be to work with a licensed therapist who specializes in family systems or toxic relationships. They can provide personalized guidance and tools to help you process your emotions, set boundaries, and make decisions that are right for you. But I get it. Therapy isn't always accessible or affordable for everyone. That's where online support groups come in handy. These virtual communities can be a lifeline when you're feeling alone in your struggles. There are some great Reddit communities out there, like R Raised by Narcissists or R Estranged Adult Kids. These spaces are full of people who've been through similar experiences and can offer validation, advice, and support. Remember, healing isn't a solo journey. Whether it's a therapist's office or an online forum, reaching out for support is a sign of strength, not weakness. You're not alone in this, and there are people out there who understand what you're going through and want to help. Now, if you're looking for some auditory guidance on this journey, I've got a couple of podcast recommendations that might just be your new best friends. First up, we've got The Narcissist in Your Life by Dr. Linda Martinez-Louis. This show is a goldmine for anyone dealing with toxic relationships, especially in family settings. Dr. Martinez-Louis really digs into the nitty-gritty of narcissistic behavior and how to handle it. Another great option is Therapy Chat, hosted by Laura Reagan. She's a licensed clinical social worker who focuses on healing trauma and managing those tricky family dynamics. It's like having a therapist in your pocket, ready to drop wisdom bombs whenever you need them. These podcasts are perfect for those moments when you need a little extra support or insight. Pop in your earbuds during your commute or while doing chores, and let these experts guide you through the murky waters of toxic relationships. Trust me, your future self will thank you for tuning in. To all our soulful ambassadors out there who like, comment, and engage with us, you rock. Your support means the world to me. And to everyone who's tuned in today, whether you're a longtime listener or this is your first time here, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's like giving us a virtual high five and ensures you won't miss any future soulful goodness. While you're at it, why not spread the love? Share this episode with your friends, family, or anyone you think could use some soulful loving. You never know who might need to hear this message today. Oh, and have you smashed that notification bell yet? Go ahead, give it a tap. It's the best way to stay in the loop and be the first to know when we drop new episodes. Remember, we're all about building a community here. So follow us on our socials for even more engagement, behind-the-scenes fun, and daily doses of inspiration. Trust me, your feed could use some extra soul. All right, my beautiful listeners, that's all for today. Until next time, keep prioritizing your well-being, surround yourself with positivity, and remember, you've got this. Stay soulful, stay fabulous, and I'll catch you in the next episode. In today's episode, we delved into the challenging topic of cutting ties with family members. It's evident that this decision is never made lightly. We explored various red flags that might necessitate such a drastic step, ranging from emotional abuse to financial exploitation. While family bonds are important, it's crucial to remember that your mental health and personal growth should always come first. Sometimes stepping away is the bravest and healthiest choice you can make for yourself. Prioritizing your well-being is essential in this process. It's okay to make difficult decisions about your relationships if they're negatively impacting your life. Trust your instincts, seek support when needed, and focus on your personal growth and happiness moving forward. Your mental health matters, and sometimes cutting ties is indeed the healthiest choice you can make. We've discussed coping strategies, shared success stories, and emphasized the importance of building a strong support system. Healing takes time and patience, so be kind to yourself as you navigate this new chapter in your life. Trust in your decision and know that with the right support and self-care, you can create a fulfilling life on your own terms. Remember, you have the power to shape your future and prioritize your well-being. It may be a difficult journey, but it's one that can lead to personal growth, healing, and ultimately a happier, healthier you.